This is the brand new iPad mini 6. I've been using it for about a week now, and full disclosure, before we start the video, I really love this thing, but it's not perfect. There are things that I really like about it, and then there's a few things that I'm not so crazy about. Do I hate them? I don't know, hate is kind of a strong word. But in this video, we're gonna talk about 5 things that I love about the iPad mini and 2 things that I hate. Let's take a look. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, we talk about all things tech, particularly those smaller tech items to help increase your productivity, streamline your workflow, and make your life easier. So the first thing I love about the iPad mini is, of course, its size. It's got that 8.3-inch liquid retina screen on it. It's the perfect size for typing, watching movies in bed or wherever you happen to be. Even playing games on it is really easy. I can pick it up one-handed with no problem. Granted, I have fairly big hands, but I think even someone with smaller hands wouldn't have an issue with this. And it's really light. I mean, you don't really get a sense of how light it is until you really pick it up. When I compare it to my 13 Pro Max, now, you know, I have a case on this, so it has a little bit of weight, but my 13 Pro Max almost feels a bit heavier. And I know the iPhones in general were a bit heavier this year anyway because of the increased battery capacity, but yeah, the size of this is just a home run. Apple really did a perfect job on the size of this to make it comfortable, I think, for anyone to hold. The next thing I love about the iPad mini is the power. So this thing has an A15 Bionic chip, which is the same chip that's currently powering the iPhone 13 lineup. It's got enough power to pretty much do anything you can throw at it, including editing videos. Now, I haven't fired up LumaFusion yet, so I don't know exactly how it's going to work with LumaFusion, but the fact that it's got the A15 and it's got 3 gigs of RAM leads me to believe that unless you're doing multiple streams of 4K video, you could use this and have no issues making a short video for YouTube or for personal use. Also, you can do anything on this that you can on a larger iPad. Multitasking works great on it. You can do split screen, you can do slide over, you can do picture in a picture with any video app. So the fact that Apple gave this the currently available fastest mobile chip besides the M1 really shows that Apple is dedicated to making this a device that you can use for just about anything. The third thing I love about the iPad mini are the speakers. And I know you're probably saying to yourself, like, wait a minute, who's gonna listen to something on the iPad mini without headphones? And that's true, but sometimes I'm in situations where I just don't have my headphones available. Maybe I'm, I don't know, in a part of the house where I don't feel like getting up and getting my headphones, or maybe I'm like, outside of the house somewhere and I just want to listen to something really quickly. The speakers work surprisingly well. It's the same speaker array that they currently have on the iPad Air 4. It's stereo, so it sounds much better than the speakers on the old iPad mini. And they're really great if you don't have headphones available to you. They sound really good, they're clear, and there's even a little bit of bass, so thumbs up to Apple for that. The fourth thing I love about the iPad mini is this thing right here, the USB-C port. Now, people have been complaining for years and years that they wanted Apple to ditch Lightning, go to USB-C, and they're slowly moving in that direction. They started with the MacBooks first, moved to the iPad Pro, now it's finally come to the Air and the Mini, and it's great. You can plug in a host of USB-C peripherals, including hubs, SSD drives, things like that. I have a few hubs that I use with my iPad Pro. They fit perfectly with the Mini, and it enables you to really turn this into a mobile workstation because you can plug in your hub, use your SD cards, plug your cameras, you can even plug a pair of wired headphones if you have the right hub. So the fact that this does have USB-C just makes it such a versatile device for most tasks. The fifth and final thing I love about the iPad mini is the upgraded front-facing camera. Apple has been known for including subpar cameras in their devices for years. They've been slowly upgrading them over the last couple years, but they're still not great, including the MacBook Pros and the MacBook Airs. This year, in the iPad mini, they decided to give us not only an ultra-wide 12-megapixel front-facing camera, but it also includes Center Stage, which, if you're not sure what Center Stage is, they actually included it in the upgraded iPad Pros this year, and basically the camera will follow you around as you move around the room to a certain degree. So if you're on a Zoom call, FaceTime call, whatever software that you use, you no longer have to worry about going out of frame because the camera will try to follow you around to the best of its ability. That's an awesome update, and the iPad mini, because of its form factor, really lends itself well to doing video calls, conferences, things like that. So I think the fact that Apple is being serious about upgrading that camera really shows, again, that they're trying to turn this into more of a productivity device rather than just something that you would use for fun. But of course you can use it to play games and videos, so it's kind of the best of both worlds. So now that I've talked about the 5 things I love, let's get to the 2 things I hate. And I'm hesitant to use the word hate here because it's a pretty strong word, but these are just a couple things that I really wish Apple had upgraded or put more thought into before they released the iPad mini. So the first thing that I hate about the iPad mini is the screen. Now, I don't want to give you the wrong impression here. The screen is actually really good. It's a liquid retina display, 8.3 inches. Movies, TV shows, anything you're watching on it is going to look good. But when you've had an iPad Pro and now the iPhone 13 Pro Max with the 120 Hertz ProMotion display on it, it's really hard to go back to something that doesn't look as sharp, which the iPad mini has. I'm not trying to dissuade anyone from buying this just based on the screen, but if you're really someone who's into that ProMotion display, you're probably not going to be too happy. You've probably heard about the jelly motion issues, with the screen. It doesn't really bother me too much, but after I've been using my 13 Pro Max for a while and I go back to using the iPad mini, I do notice some slight lag, things like that. Things are a little bit slower, and I'm talking like milliseconds, but it would be awesome if in a future iteration of the iPad mini that Apple did include ProMotion. I'm assuming that they didn't this year because it just would have made the device too expensive, but maybe we'll get that in a year or two. The other thing that I hate about the iPad mini, and this is more just like a little nitpick, but the fact that they did not include the smart connector on the back of the device. I'm assuming that Apple was probably thinking that they shouldn't include a keyboard with it because it would just be too much of a cramped experience, but it just would have been nice to even allow third-party manufacturers to make keyboards for it, because otherwise we now have these crappy Bluetooth keyboards that you get off of Amazon, and some of them are good, but it would have been so nice to have something like the Magic Keyboard that we have for the iPad Pro and even the iPad Air and the regular iPad, so that we don't have to lug around a separate keyboard with us. Now, like I said, it's just sort of a nitpicky thing. Maybe they'll include it on a future version, but I really wish they would have thought ahead and just included that smart connector. Would have made things a lot easier. So there's my list. 5 things I love, 2 things I hate. I'm curious to hear if you guys have the iPad mini, the things that you love or hate about it. The only thing that I regret not doing right out of the gate is buying one with 256 gigs of RAM. This is the 64 gig version, and I've just discovered it's not enough space for me. I've put some apps on it and some games, and the storage is almost full. So you really need that 256 version if you want to maximize your usage out of it. So probably going to be sending this one back. There are other things I love about it, like the ability to use the 2nd-gen Apple Pencil, Touch ID, but the things I listed in this video are the major standouts for me with this device. So let me know in the comments what you guys think as far as things that you love about the iPad mini, things that you wish they would have included. I'm going to be coming out with a video in the next few days that details the minimal everyday carry setup that my iPad mini is now a part of, so look out for that soon. I really appreciate all the new subscribers. If you're not subscribed, please consider doing that and hitting that notification bell so you can be notified when new content comes out. It really helps me to grow the channel. Stay tuned for more content, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.